What's up, my sweet sugar bushes? Welcome to another episode of Crime and Cosmetics. As always, I'm your host, Snaxton. Today, we are looking at the Richardson Family Murders. This is another short case. So again, the looks will progress more and more as we go along because I want to keep up with the story finish at the same time. You feel me? Yes, can I help you? Is that it? What else can I get you? You want treats? Is that what you're telling me? Is that it? Alright, well, I'll get you some treats. Give me 1 second. It's like they know that if they bother me when I'm filming, that they will for sure get treats, just so I can keep them occupied. Also, the lighting looks different because I've set up these minimal lighting rigs that are pretty bright, should be good. It'll allow me to get rid of these huge things I have off to my side to make more room in my living room. Content creation has consumed my life. Literally everything in my living room right now pretty much is for creating content. But any hoozle, let's get started. Oh, also yesterday I washed my makeup brushes. Thank the Lord it took forever, but they're done now. So yay, fresh brushes. So we are going to travel all the way to Medicine Hat, Alberta, Canada. If you don't know, this story is about Canada's youngest multiple murderer. So let's travel back to 2006. This is where Jasmine Richards, who at the time is 12 years old, meets Jeremy Steinke. I think that's what an awful last name to have. But this must Lord Supreme. Good God, son. You're 20. I can't tell if you're 23 or 45, honestly. So Jasmine and Jeremy start this kind of online relationship. They're sharing messages between each other on the lovely vampirefreaks.com. If you were anybody in the emo scene kid days, Vampire Freaks was where it's at, let's be honest. But, you know, and it was actually speculated they met on Vampire Freaks, but, you know, it was later confirmed by some acquaintances, friends, or whatever, that they met at a punk rock show. Sad to see that even back then, there were still older people in the alternative community preying on young girls. Fucking disgusting. So anyways, like I said, they start communicating. I want to reiterate this. Jasmine is 12 years old and Jeremy is 23. Now, by looking at this gentleman's pictures, you can already tell the kind of person he was. He told his friends that he was a 300-year-old vampire, or I'm sorry, that he was a 300-year-old werewolf, and he loved the taste of blood. He carried apparently had a vial of blood that he wore around his neck. But this werewolf had 300 years to learn the age of consent and still couldn't follow it. Fucking wild. So on Jasmine's social media profiles, though, she did lie about her age. She said she was 15, which is still disgusting. Why do grown-ass men try to shack up with literal children? You're fucking gross, dude. Any of you that prey on young girls, disgusting. But honestly, I expect nothing less than a individual who tells people he's a 300-year-old werewolf. Like I said, man, 300 years and you still don't know the age of consent. I'm not shocked, honestly. So they developed this weird-ass relationship and stuff, and, you know, Jasmine's parents, like any other sane adult, would learn about this and learn that Jeremy was 23 years old. You know, Jasmine was 12. And were like, yeah, absolutely not. No, no, I don't know, just no. Jasmine, being a teenager, took this as a direct attack on her, them not supporting her, you know, the whole shtick. I'm gonna let it, you know, and that's kind of the thing. These kids, these pedophiles, let's call them what they are, they're pedophiles, tell these kids, oh, you're mature for your age, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, and it puts this image, you know, puts this idea in these kids' heads that what's happening to them isn't a bad thing. I'm gonna, if you are a young viewer listening right now, young boy, young girl, young, non-binary, doesn't matter, and somebody well over the age, I'm talking like young, somebody well over the age of being an adult, is telling you, oh, you're so mature for your age, this, that, and the other. You're not, I promise you, you're not. It might be hard to hear, but you're not. This person is grooming you. I cannot tell you how many friends I've had that have experienced this. I've gone through it myself. These people are predators, and for the love of God, listen to your parents, listen to your older friends. They do not have the best interests in mind for you. There's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you, and if you, for something, you don't listen to the warning signs, and you were assaulted by this person, something or the other, it is not your fault. This person is a manipulator. They are a predator. This is what they do. This is what they're good at. You are not the first person. They've done it to you. You probably won't be the last until they get caught. It is not your fault. But I'm letting you know right now, you are not mature for your age. You need to run away from this person as fast as possible. Thank you. This has been a PSA. So, of course, Jasmine takes this as a direct attack on her, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Jeremy, our 300-year-old werewolf, does the same. He is said to have, and honestly, when it comes to the murder of her family, Jasmine is apparently the one that came up with the idea. She's quoted messaging Jeremy and saying, "It begins with me killing them and ends with me living with you." Jeremy also had posted on his social medias, this is a good one, strap in, "Payment. My lover's rents are totally unfair. They say that they really care. They don't know what is going on and they just assume. Their throats I want to slit. Finally there shall be silence. Their blood shall be payment." That's a lot to unpack, let me tell you. Now, if I get it. I made edgy posts on social media when I was a kid. I wasn't 23 when I was making them, but I was a child. You don't sound cool. You sound like a fucking nerd and like not a good one. That old status you posted sounded like it was posted by Yoda if he was really into My Chemical Romance and Slayer. So Jasmine tells 300-year-old Mustlord pedophile Supreme about, the plan. And of course, he's like, love it. Nothing wrong with that. There's literally no other option we have. We gotta kill your family. This is it. I mean, I can't think of anything else we can do. And he's like, love the plan, but we need to go over some details and such. Jasmine had actually told her friends about the plan that they were going to kill her family. Her friends didn't really believe her. They thought they were just like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. They also didn't approve of her dating a fucking 23-year-old, so apparently hours before committing this act, our 300-year-old musty pedophile werewolf watched the movie Natural Born Killers with some friends, which he is quoted saying it's the ultimate love story. Apparently he said that to an undercover officer. Anyways, but he told his friends him and his girlfriend should go about their plans similar without sparing Jasmine's little brother. Now, of course, this dude idolizes the antagonists in Natural Born Killers. I'm going to give you a little heads up. If anybody you're talking to idolizes these sorts of characters, run far away because they've missed the point of the character by idolizing them. I just understand them because I was also shunned by society. You were not shunned by society. You got made fun of for hissing at people in the cafeteria. There is a difference. So let's get to the murders. That's why you're all here. So Jasmine lets Jeremy into the home. She then goes upstairs and sits in her little brother's room, who is 8 years old, Tyler Jacob Richardson, and begins to cover his ears as Jeremy brutally murders Jasmine's mother, Deborah, stabbing her over a dozen times. Jasmine's father, Mark, attempted to fight back with a screwdriver, but ultimately his life was ended. Mark was stabbed so many times that when the police found his body, it literally had no blood left in it. Like I said, while Jeremy was downstairs brutally murdering both of Jasmine's parents, she was upstairs in the room with her 8-year-old brother. She had placed her hands over his ears so he wouldn't hear the screaming of his parents downstairs. I mean, how fucking terrifying can that be, like, that kid's not dumb. Something's going on, and the fact that Jasmine's just, like, sitting here letting it happen, she's cool with it, she's part of, why it's happening. I can only imagine how fucking scared that 8-year-old kid was. After Jeremy is done brutally murdering Jasmine's parents, he then goes upstairs and meets Jasmine in her little brother's room. At first, Jasmine did not want to kill her little brother, but Jeremy apparently convinced her to, and Jasmine then slits Tyler Jacob's throat. Her story changed a few times while she was being interrogated. At first, she said that Jeremy had killed Jacob, and then ultimately her story stuck to that she herself had killed Jacob because She thought it would be too sad to leave him as an orphan. How thoughtful of you, I guess. Hey, so whenever I put on eyeshadow, I can always see like a little bit of the color of my lid between my eyelashes. Is there a way to fix that, or just use mascara? Because I feel like, I don't know. I think maybe, I don't know. I'll figure it out. If you got any suggestions, let me know. So after they're done, they're picked up by their friend Casey Lancaster. Now, okay, it says that Casey Lancaster picked them up. I'm not sure if she picked them up from the murder and then drove them back to the community of Leader in Saskatchewan. It's about 80 miles away from where they were. But nonetheless, she is involved in this for helping dispose of some evidence as well as driving them. I think it's from the murder. That's what the way the articles I've read are worded are kind of weird, but that's what I got from it. Or they wouldn't probably, you know, if it wasn't from the murder, she wouldn't have got charged with an accessory, but she did help dispose of some evidence as well. Any hoozle. So the next day, one of Tyler Jacobs' friends, the young boy, he comes over to the Richardson's house to see if Tyler Jacob wants to come out and play. Nobody answers the doors. He kind of like peeks in through the windows, and through the window he sees a body, and he freaks out and he runs home and he tells his mom. His mom then contacts the authorities, and the authorities go in. They get a search warrant. They go through the house. That's where they find, they find Deborah and Mark, I think, in the basement. They then find the 8-year-old son upstairs in his room covered in his own blood because his throat was slit. Jasmine even recalls talking about remembers hearing him gurgle through his sliced open throat and all the blood and such. Anyways, so they're searching the house. They can't find Jasmine though. So they initially think that the family's been attacked and Jasmine has been abducted and she is a victim in all this. So they start putting out, APBs, be on the lookout. They plaster her face on the news, everywhere. So as police are doing whatever they can to try to locate Jasmine, because again, they think she is a victim in all this, they start investigating the crimes a little bit more. They start investigating, talking to Jasmine's friends, looking at her locker, looking through her emails, anything they can, and they start piecing it together that she's not, in fact, the victim. She is one of the assailants. So after that, her name is pulled from the news and such. I think we're going to do white with this. I think white would look really good. So after that, her name is pulled from the news and stuff like that because she's so young and she is suspected to be one of the assailants. They can't release her name to the public. So eventually, they are picked up in the community of Leaders. Her and Jeremy are both taken to trial. I remember reading shortly after they got arrested, Jeremy proposed to her and Jasmine said yes, but whatever. Gross. So when the trial starts, Canada has a law that says nobody under the age of 14 can be tried as an adult. At the time of the trial, Jasmine had actually turned 13, but she was still under the age, so she couldn't be tried as an adult, and the maximum sentence she could receive was 10 years. She is put on trial for 3 counts of first-degree murder. She's found guilty, and she receives 10 years as well as 4 years in a psychiatric institution and 4.5 years under conditional supervision. December 15th of 2008, Jeremy is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. He is convicted of all 3 counts of first-degree murder, and he is sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences and is eligible for parole after 25 years. So as far as any updates, from what I really couldn't find a whole lot on Jeremy's side. I think in 2011, he tried to get his case re-looked at or something of the sort. He attempted to appeal his case, but I haven't found any articles that have updates on that. I hope he stays in prison for the rest of his life. Fucking 300-year-old pedophile, musty-ass werewolf. Fuck him. So, but as far as Jasmine, I did find an article that stated in 2016, Jasmine Richardson underwent extensive rehabilitation and treatment after she was sentenced. Psychiatric assessments revealed that she was diagnosed with conduct disorder and oppositional defiant disorder in 2016, at just a year younger than her partner in crime was when they committed the homicides. Richardson was freed from the criminal justice system. Using reports from Richardson's probation officer, Court of Queen's Bench Justice Scott Brooker said, "You've indicated through your conduct you have a desire to atone for what you did," adding, "Clearly you cannot undo the past. You can only live each day with the knowledge that you can control how you behave." And if I remember correctly, there were conditions that if she stayed out of trouble for a year after she was released from everything, the homicides would be expunged from her record. I don't know how I feel about that. You know, she was 12 years old and she was being manipulated, but you know, she still did it. You know, I kind of, when I first read that, I was like, yeah, you know, I think they should still be on a record. But then again, you know, at the end of it, like, you know, how this whole thing was pretty much, from my understanding, was all Jeremy. She may have suggested it, but, you know, sometimes when you're a fucking kid, you're like, man, I fucking hate my parents, man. I wish they were dead, blah, 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 blah. You know, you're 12 years old, dude. Like, you don't understand what you're doing. And she was being heavily manipulated and groomed by a disgusting 23-year-old. And I also read some other psychiatric reports that were talking about how she seems genuinely, like, remorseful for what happened, as well as she's gone through a lot of therapy and stuff like that. You know, taking the proper steps that she needed to take. As far as where she is now, couldn't tell you. She's living in a secret location under a different name, which is understandable. You know, she was 12 years old. Let me know what you think about all this. Do you think that the homicide should have been expunged from her record, or do you think she should have had to keep them on her record, or how do you feel about this, you know, her being 12 and being groomed and manipulated by a 23-year-old? You know, what she did was awful, what she helped orchestrate was awful, but, you know, the conditions under which everything happened, it makes you think. All right, let me add some designs, and then we will pick our murder for next week. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm good enough that I can talk and draw on these designs because I got shaky hands. So give me 2 seconds, and we'll be right back. All right, so I've actually turned these lights all the way up because I want to see how that looks on when I'm editing, how it looks on the actual video, to make sure it's not overpowering or washing it out, washing the look out or anything like that. But from what I can see on the viewfinder thingy, it looks not bad. Did some more lettering over here to practice line work. Every time I try to do some wings, I'm like, I got this, too easy. I've been doing these designs real well lately. I just fucking bust out a wing real quick, and then it takes me 30 minutes, and I get upset with myself and say, I'm not doing this anymore. So it's still a work in progress. I'm not sure how I feel about this line down the middle. I kept it because, like, if my nose is super crooked, and I feel like it kind of helps. It either does one or two things. Either draws people's attention directly to my crooked ass nose, or it draws their attention away. Let me know, because I'm not sure. But I just like, you know, I like line work, obviously. But let's pick our murder for next week, or our crime for next week. All right, I actually just added a bunch of names from you guys' suggestions, so. All right, boom, let's go, let's see. Make sure we get everybody a chance to get picked. Look how many names we got in there now. That's a ton. All right. Orville Lynn Majors. That is who we are going to be covering next week. I believe was a killer nurse, if I remember correctly. We love a good killer nurse in this house. I think we may turn that one into a mukbang and murder. What? What's wrong? You're not getting treats again. I know what you're doing. It's not happening. No. No, absolutely not. You've gotten treats twice today. No, no, no. So, I think we're going to turn that one into a mukbang and murder. I think with this light, I like this lighting setup because it gives me a lot of room. I think I'm going to get a ring light to put on the back of my table so I don't have to have these on such a high power, and then maybe a gooseneck tripod so you know, I can have it at an angle for when we do mukbangs and you can actually see what I'm eating and stuff. Hey, I need you to give me a second, all right? But again, thank you guys so much for stopping by for another episode of Crime and Cosmetics. I recently checked Makeup and Murder's website, and they have the burner phone palette in stock, so I ordered that one. I'm going to review that one. The Partner in Crime palette we have, we're going to add that to the the giveaway box like I had originally planned. I got the Milani palette. Now all I need to do is box everything up and get it ready to ship, and then I can start putting out the guidelines. I'm still going over a rough draft of the guidelines, so give me like just a little bit and we will get that started. As As always, if you have someone you want covered, leave their name in the comments of this video or whatever, you know, crime, whatever, and we will write it down on some index cards and put it in our murder pot, and we will get to them eventually because we're not going to let this thing run out. If I haven't gotten to a one you've suggested so far, I'm sorry, this is done completely at random, but we will get to them, I promise. So feel free to join our Coven. It's our Discord server. I will link that in the description of this video. Also check out the podcast Snacks Packs. It's streaming on all platforms. I am in the works for another podcast right now that I think you guys will enjoy. If you like video games, we stream on Twitch pretty much every day, every night. I will leave the link to my other social medias in the description of this video as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means the absolute world to me, and as long as you keep, you know, as long as you like these videos, I'm going to keep putting them out. I hope you guys have the best day ever. I hope all the good things happen to you. Be kind to others. Most of all, be kind to yourself. Be safe out there. I'll see you next week.